Hi everyone, and welcome to another live session from the series How to Get a Professional Job Here in Australia. And in this live session, I will talk about 7 important tips or hints for you to get a professional job here in Australia. But first, for those that don't know me, my name is Gerson Ida, and I'm the founder of the website www.engineersinaustralia.com, a website that I created to share content of value and useful information in your journey towards your engineering qualification here in Australia. And also share other contents related to engineering, and also contents like tonight's content, which is to help you to get a job as an engineer here in Australia. And if you haven't joined my Telegram group yet, you can join for free. Telegram is like WhatsApp. It's a messaging app that I send posts and notifications when the lives are going to happen, and also about my free workshop. So if you haven't joined yet, I'm pasting the link in the comments, so you can join in there as well. And also, if you are interested to learn how to validate your engineering qualification here in Australia, you can participate in my free workshop. And the name of the workshop is I Want to Become an Engineer in Australia. So you can register with the link that I pasted in the comments as well. All right, so I'm going to start with the tips. And the first 5 tips, they are related to your curriculum vitae, to your cover letter, and to the professional interview. And then the last 2 tips are probably the most important ones. So stay with me until the end. And I would like to know, do you have any question about when you are searching for a professional job here in Australia, or even perhaps where you live? Because some of the tips, they can be the same. So send me your questions in the comments, and I will approach them during the live session. And thanks for those ones that sent questions in my Instagram question box. I thank you very much, and I will approach them as well. So first of all, the tip number 1 is about the cover letter. In Australia, there's a document that usually when you apply for a job, the job vacancies usually ask you 2 documents. One document is your curriculum vitae, or your CV, or your resume, and the other one is your cover letter. And I will explain a little bit the difference between the 2. But a lot of people, they don't really put a lot of importance with the cover letter. The cover letter will tell the employer or the recruitment agency what are your skills, especially tailored to the prerequisites or the selection criteria, all the skills, all the competencies required by the company. Usually, when the company advertises a position, they attach a document. It's called job description or position description, which is a document that outlines all the things about the job or the vacancy and the role and the skills and the selection criteria. And in the cover letter, it's very important that you don't do a generic cover letter. It's very important that you write your cover letter addressing the selection criteria. A lot of people, they don't put enough importance to the cover letter. I think I'm competent to talk about this here in my live sessions, because since 2006, I've been interviewing a lot of people in obviously a lot of job interviews. And I've seen already many applications, hundreds of applications. And good applications, very good applications, and also very bad applications. And nowadays, when you advertise for a position, you usually get quite a lot of applications. And you need to remember that when you are in the recruitment panel, if you have just one vacancy, obviously there is one successful candidate. And to get to this successful candidate, you probably will be interviewing 3, 4, maybe 5 candidates. So those are the ones that are going to be shortlisted. And usually you get about 30, 50 applications, which means that from 50 applications, let's say, you will shortlist 5, because these are the ones that you'll be interviewing. So it means that 45 applicants are going to be unsuccessful for the shortlisting and not going to have an opportunity for a professional interview. So the thing is that you need to be attractive enough in your cover letter and in your CV so you can make one of the 5 people that will be interviewed. So that is the utmost important thing. And the cover letter is the document that at least myself and a lot of people that I know of, they read first the cover letter. And if the cover letter is addressing the selection competencies or the selection criteria, then we also look at the resume. But if the cover letter is not addressing anything, we usually discard that application, because out of 50, there will probably be somebody that knows already the importance of the cover letter, will write a very good cover letter addressing the competencies, and you'll have a good resume. So it's very difficult from 50 candidates or applicants that you're not going to have at least 5 with good cover letter and good CV. So when you don't do enough importance to the cover letter, you're actually helping us, the recruitment panel, because it's very easy for us because we pretty much discard those applications straight away. And then you wonder why you never get to an interview. Maybe your cover letter is just that one, very generic, that just says about, hi, my name is Gerson Ida. I'm a civil engineer with a lot of experience, and I am sure that I'll be able to contribute to your company, and I would be welcoming the opportunity to explore further my competencies in a professional interview. If you do this, your cover letter is very poor, and it's probably not going to get your chance to a professional interview. So pay attention to your cover letter and treat the cover letter as a document more important than the CV. The other tip is about your curriculum. And this is a mistake that I've seen many, many times in those hundreds of applications that I already assessed. You need to customize your curriculum. A lot of candidates, they send a curriculum, and we, the panel, because of our experience, we know already when the candidate is sending the same resume over and over and over and over again. We can see that. We're not silly. We know when a candidate is just having a generic CV and sending pretty much like a machine gun, sending 1, 2, 3, 4, 500. I've seen already people saying that they sent already 500 applications. They pay some companies, and those companies, they send like 500 applications, and they say that they never get even a phone call. Obviously, if you're sending the same CV all the time, regardless of the position that you're applying, you're sending all the same CV, your chances to get an interview is going to be very, very slim. The reasons why? The same ones that I spoke about the cover letter. The position is specific. There will be 10, 20, 50 applicants in that position. The recruitment panel or the recruitment agency we'll certainly find 5 or 6 good candidates with good CV and good cover letter. And if your cover letter is not good, if your CV is just a generic one, then you probably, obviously, you'll be on the 45 applicants that you didn't get a chance for an interview. So think about it. Have a look at your CV. Does that relate to the position that you are applying for? Let's say that you are a civil engineer. And I am a civil engineer. And I've applied already for many positions in the past. But if I am applying for a civil engineer where the position is more like doing structural civil engineering, and I've done structural civil engineering in the past, I would concentrate and focus my CV in my experience and results when I was doing structural engineering. It's not good if the position is about structural engineering and you ended up putting residential stuff which is not related to structural engineering. For example, if you're doing just construction management, or if you're doing other things that are not too related to structural engineering. People will know that you didn't tailor your CV, and that's not going to be good. Tip number 3, similar to customizing your CV, it's very important that you customize your cover letter. I've seen, as I said, people that just write or just wrote the same cover letter and sent many times all the positions they sent the same cover letter. And you need to remember, as I said in the beginning, the positions will have a position description attached to the job advertisement. And it's very important that you read carefully that position description. And in the position description, they will have selection criteria or key competencies. And you need, in your cover letter, address each of those selection criteria. Because if you don't, it will look like just a generic cover letter. And again, there will be at least 5 people that they will have a very good customized cover letter, and they will probably get the opportunity for an interview. Remember, when you apply for a job, your first objective is to be shortlisted for an interview. And how you can get shortlisted? When you have a good resume and a good cover letter. Sometimes the companies or recruitment agencies will ring you. If they do, obviously because they got interested in your application, and they might just have a chat with you before they actually shortlist. But usually the shortlisting is done according to the CV and according to the cover letter, at least here in Australia. Tip number 4, I mentioned a little bit in the previous answer, but the tip is to answer the questions of the selection criteria and the key competencies with real examples in your cover letter. So let's say that they are asking for a specific selection criteria related to project management. Don't just say that, I know project management, I applied the PMBOK methodology with the 10 areas of project management, etc. Don't use just that overall and broad example. Use a real life example. Just say that you are going to address this competency using an example, a project that you delivered, and this project was this, and then give real examples of the 10 areas of project management. Very obviously brief, but try to give the results that you obtained in those areas with a real example. Because remember, the companies want competent people. And competent people are the ones that they have the knowledge and they have applied that knowledge as well. Tip number 5. Don't leave until the last minute. Sorry. Tip number 5, don't leave until the last minute to write up your CV or your cover letter. I know sometimes we procrastinate. We find a job in seek.com.au or career1.com.au. We find a vacancy there, and then it says vacancy closes in 1 week time, for example, or 5 days. And then you think, I've got 5 days, so I'll leave it for tomorrow. And then tomorrow you think about it, and then you have an old CV, you have an old or generic cover letter, and then you think today or tomorrow, and then you think, oh yeah, I've got another 3 days. I've got another 3 days, and then I'll leave it to tomorrow. Until the second last day. Until the second last day, if you're good, until the second last day, you think, oh, I've got to do it tomorrow. And the real good procrastinator will think, I've still got tomorrow, 5 p.m. tomorrow, so that's enough time. And then last day arrives, and you're busy at school in the morning, for example, or working. And then when it's about 3 p.m., you think, oh, shit, I need to apply for that job. I've got 2 hours to apply for the job. Who here didn't do that? Who here from you listening applied for a job and prepared a good cover letter and a good resume few days before the deadline? If you're like me, probably left until the last minute because I'm a very good procrastinator. But usually then 2 hours before, you get your old CV, and then you don't have time to fix it or to update it. Your cover letter then is the same one, generic, you just change the date, and then you send the old CV or with a little bit of update and a very generic cover letter. And because you didn't have time, you didn't have enough, you didn't do research about the company. You haven't done research about the projects that that company is delivering. You haven't done enough research about the people. Sometimes they even tell you the people who are going to be, who's in the panel. And then you haven't done your research on their LinkedIn. You haven't done the research about really what you need to put in your CV or your resume and your cover letter. And then 2 hours before, you don't have time. You just need to do whatever you have to do, and you send whatever you have. Obviously, your chances to get shortlisted are not going to be good, because there are people out there that when they do a job application, they do a really good job application. Very, very tailored, customized. They know about the company. They even in their cover letter, they somehow translate the culture of the company. So when the panel is reading the cover letter, they can identify with themselves with the candidates, because the candidate wrote the documents in a such way that it transpires the culture of the company as well. So think about it, and don't leave until the last minute. Give enough time, few days, so you can research about the company, research about the projects, draft a cover letter, ask a friend to proofread it if it's good or not, and then you apply. So, and sometimes even ring the recruitment agency. Ask more questions about the job. Ask more questions about the position. Any particular skills or competencies. Sometimes the recruitment agent will tell you something that perhaps it's not in the job description, and then you can include that in your application. I've got some questions there in Instagram, so I will go through that fairly quick. First of all, I will answer a question that I received there. Where is that? So Ariel asked a question in the question box, and thank you very much, Ariel. Obviously, it's very important for you to participate, because the more you participate, the more obviously I also understand what is your question, and then I can address in our live sessions. Ariel asked, how do you start your career as a migrant without local experience? That's a very good question, Ariel. And it happens to almost everyone. Why do I say almost? Because there are some migrants that they come to Australia transferred from the home country. I've got many friends here from Brazil, Brazilian friends, that they were working in a company in Brazil or in another country, and then they were transferred to Australia. So they came here with a professional job already. So obviously that's different. But majority of migrants, they come to Australia. If they came like me, like as an international student, obviously I didn't have any local experience. So how do we start a career here without local experience? Well, it is a difficult question to answer. First of all, you need to do obviously your CV and your cover letter, as I'm talking about. Also, it's very important to start doing some networking activities. Networking is really, really important. There are many ways that you can network. You can network with the education agencies. They sometimes promote some events where they kind of talk with employers, so you can network with them. You can network with Engineers Australia. Here in Brisbane, you probably have Engineers Australia in your major cities like Sydney, Melbourne, and other places as well. Also, the Australian Institute of Project Management, they also have networking events. So you need to start thinking about what are the institutions that you may have some connection with the industry, and start doing some networking. Also, Sebastian Toro here in Brisbane, he's got his networking homepage. So usually with the Latin America community. So very, very handy to follow Sebastian Toro as well, and connect with him. Usually he does some events that gathers employers, and you can then participate in those events and connect with people. Obviously, if you don't have any experience, you're just fresh graduated and came to Australia, yes, it's going to be a little bit more difficult as well, especially if you are as an international student. You may not have the rights to work 40 hours, so you need to be applying for jobs that are 20 hours a week. So, but you need to start sending resumes. Talk to people. And many people I've seen already, they go to the companies directly and they ask for the HR department. And then they talk to the HR department. They ask about if there's any vacancy or if there is any opportunity, if they can leave the resume there. There are many projects that are happening around Australia, and those projects, they have a website. You can include your resume and your cover letter in those websites. For example, Cross River Rail here in Brisbane, you can apply even to wait. At least they've got your profile, they've got your resume, and if there's something that matching your skills, they might call you, they might contact you. All right. The other question here on Instagram, how many, from Camila? Yeah, thank you, Camila. How many resumes have to send per week? Yeah, it's not about the quantity. Obviously, the more resumes you send, the more chances you have to be shortlisted. But it's very important. If you send like 10 resumes per week, it's very important that each resume is going to be customized to that position. Don't send just your resume and your cover letter, the same one, to 10 job vacancies every week. If you have a target to send 10 resumes or 10 cover letters, or apply to 10 jobs, make sure that you tailor those 10 applications. If you send the same 10 applications, I don't believe you'll be very successful. You need to have and you need to put effort in the application. And the recruitment agencies and companies and panel members, they know when you put effort in your application. Because the rationale is very simple. I'm recruiting for engineers right now. When I read the applications, and if the candidate didn't put effort in the application, why should I put effort in trying to find competencies, trying to find good things about the candidate? There will be at least 5 candidates that they put effort, and then the panel member will, or the panel members, we will then focus on those 5 people that they actually put effort in preparing their application. If you just send a generic CV, a generic cover letter, you didn't put any effort, you just finding and apply, finding, apply, finding, apply, it's not going to work. And if you keep doing the same thing, obviously it's silly to expect a different result if you're doing the same thing. So to get a different result, you need to do different things. All right. But thanks for the question, Camila. Just going to check if is there any other question there. No other question. And if you think that this content is relevant, please hit the like button. It helps me. It motivates me to come here every week. This live session is number 161, which means that for the last 161 weeks, it's more than 3 years, I am here every week sharing with you content to help you in your journey to validate your engineering qualification and to help you to get a job here in Australia. So if you think it's relevant, please hit the like button. And if you want to follow me, if you're still not following me on Instagram, go to my profile, consider following me, and you'll be notified of new contents. My YouTube channel as well. I've got more than 180 videos that I have in my YouTube channel. It's not a big channel. I think I've got 400 and something subscribers. Visit there. If you think it's relevant, consider subscribing. Like the video there as well. And that motivates me. Your participation obviously motivates me to keep going. Tip number 6 is about networking. I spoke about networking. One thing that I didn't mention about networking is every time that you do networking, especially if you're trying to validate your engineering qualification, usually those events, and Engineers Australia, for example, they have free events, a lot of free events. And every time that you participate in those free events, it also helps you in your CPD, your continuing professional development. And continuing professional development is one of the requirements for you to validate your engineering qualification here in Australia. So you can be killing 2 birds with just 1 stone. You can be doing your networking, you will be learning something, and it will be helping your validation process because of your CPD as well. Another thing that I didn't mention about networking is about LinkedIn. It's very important that you update and make your LinkedIn profile very interesting, especially with the skills and competencies that you have. In LinkedIn, you are able to bump up your profile putting your skills and competencies that are relevant to you, the ones that you really have experience. And usually recruiters, they will search for some of those skills, and then they can find you. So very, very important. Another good hint in terms of LinkedIn is to follow, obviously, the companies that you would like to work for. And when they post, make some clever comments. Don't just spam asking, oh, is there a job there? But when they post something in LinkedIn, make some clever comments. Not just, great, or just emoji or whatever, but write something relevant about that post. Because usually when people, they post, they're very interested in what the comments are going to be. And if you start posting clever and smart comments about the post, then obviously those people that they posted that thing, they'll start paying attention to you, and they might connect with you as well, asking or sending you a message or a direct message, etc. So that's another thing. Connect with the companies, keep an eye on their posts, and make clever comments when they post something relevant, something that you have knowledge about it. The other tip is about validation of your engineering qualification. That's probably very, very important. One of the most important things if you are an engineer. As I said before, when there is a position being advertised, there will be about 30 to 50, even some, depending on the position, you have 70, 80 applicants. And the panel members, usually they're very busy people. And they just need to shortlist about 5 people. So if you have 50, and if you have to shortlist 5, which means to cut 45, you need to have some strategies to cut. When we advertise for engineers, because we are here in Queensland, we ask for RPQ, Registered Professional Engineers of Queensland. You gotta be either RPQ already, a registered engineer already, or you need to be able to be registered within 6 months or so. So if you are not validated, we know that's going to take more than 6 months for you to validate your qualification and then get your registration. The registration itself, if you're not registered, to get in 6 months is very challenging, let alone if you're not validated. If you're not validated, you're not going to get in 6 months. So when we get applications, those ones that are not even validated, we discard straight away, because we can cut at least half of the applicants because they're not validated. And if we are asking for registered, even if the position is a little bit lower level, there are a lot of engineers that are validated, a lot of engineers that are registered. So we don't need to consider those ones that are not validated. So that's why it's so important for you to, as soon as you can, to validate your engineering qualification, because you become more employable. You then become more attractive with at least some chances to be interviewed. Yeah, I know, Gerson. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, people say, yeah, but I got a job. I'm not even validated. I got a job, etc., etc. It can happen. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm just saying that reputable companies, they usually ask you to be validated. They may not ask you formally, but when they discard options, discard candidates that are not validated because they have plenty of validated engineers, put yourself in the shoes of the company. You have 50 applicants, 20 are validated and registered, the other 30 are not. Are you going to spend time looking at the 30 people that are not validated when you have 20 that are either validated or registered? Probably not. I know, yeah, Gerson, there could be somebody in the 30 that could be, the genius of the engineering, whatever. It could be, it could happen. But you're probably going to find in the other 20 somebody that will fit your needs. And if you really, really want to recruit somebody that's genius or my special skills, whatever, it's a different recruitment process. But for the day-to-day engineer, day-to-day project manager, being validated will make you more employable. Got other questions there. Another question from Camila in Instagram. What can I say in interviews? Someone asked, what's your expectation salary? Yeah, that's a very good question. You need to, when you apply for a job, you know that you are applying either for an entry-level job, a mid-career job, or perhaps a senior career job. And especially for us overseas engineers, because we are overseas, and it happened to me already in the beginning of my career. When I started to apply for jobs, I started to apply for higher level jobs because I had a very higher level job back in Brazil. What happened? Because I didn't have local experience, I was not getting phone calls. I was not getting interviews. So I had to downgrade my expectation, and I downgraded my salary expectation as well. And I did some research to see how much a mid-level engineer would get it. And then I accept the fact that instead of asking straight away $150,000 a year, I would be happy with a salary of $95,000, $100,000 a year. But with an objective that I was going to get, once I got the job, I was going to get more knowledge, more experience, and then I was going to get promotions. I was going to apply for other jobs and going to get higher salaries. That's what probably you need to do, especially if you are fairly senior in your career in your home country, and then you come to Australia. You probably need to downgrade your expectations because local experience does matter. A lot of people say that, yeah, it doesn't matter, or people think that the companies are discriminatory or they have some discrimination, but it's not. It's local knowledge. Local knowledge means local knowledge of the legislation, the technical specifications, the procurement process, subcontractors, your local network. It all counts, because if you have those things, your performance will be good or will be better. If you don't have those things, even you could be very skilled and very knowledgeable, but if you don't, until you make that networking, until you get that knowledge, that local knowledge, your performance is not going to be the same. So it means that if your performance is not the same, your salary expectation shouldn't really be the same. So if you are applying for a graduate position or an entry-level position as an engineer, you probably will say that your salary expectation is between $60,000 to $75,000 a year, plus superannuation, etc. Nowadays, it's probably a little bit different because the market is very hot. And if you have the right to work full-time and if you have some experience, you could be asking for an entry-level position. You could be asking $80,000 to even $90,000 a year. So, because that's the market, supply and demand. But you probably need to have your validation already. And if you are in Queensland, if you are RPQ here in Queensland, if you are a registered professional engineer of Queensland here, your salary will be at least $100,000 a year. So if you are registered. If you're not registered, it will be probably a little bit lower than that. So, but thank you very much for the question, Camila. All right. Yeah, in YouTube, Sylvia is asking, where do I put the reference contacts, in cover letter or resume? Yeah, your professional references will be in your resume. Here also it's common that sometimes you read a resume and the professional reference, it says TBC, which means to be confirmed upon request. So sometimes people, they don't like to put the professional references because they are working already, and then they don't want to kind of people to ring their supervisors if before an interview. So some candidates, they in the resume, when they put professional references, they put to be confirmed upon request. Usually we ring references after the interview. We interview candidates, and then if the candidate is a successful candidate, or if the candidate is going to be in the meritorious list, we will then ring the professional references, at least 2 references, so we can obviously check some informations there. All right. Okay, well, conscious of time, so I would like to ask you, if you like the tips, please hit the like button. It helps me a lot. It motivates me to keep going. Next week, or next Sunday, 8:30 p.m., I'm going to talk about some of the biggest fears that engineers have during the validation process. I get a lot of those questions, and next live session will be about what engineers they are scared of. What are their fears when they are doing their validation process? So hopefully you can make it. And I would like to thank you guys very much. And don't forget, if you want to participate in the free workshop, I think you can go still in the comments. If you can't, I will paste again the link so you can register in the free workshop, and then in 1 week you can then learn I think, yeah, and then you where's the link, and then you can learn how you can validate your engineering qualification. So I'm going to show you the registration page, because sometimes it can be a little bit you can have some questions. So when you go to my website, www.engineersinaustralia.com, you find that's my homepage. There's many things there, but if you want to register in the free workshop, you just click on this button, and then it will open up the registration page. You just need to put your email, your name, and then I'm Brazilian, I'm living in Australia. I'm asking this because if you put that you're Brazilian or you live in Brazil, I send you emails in Portuguese. And if you don't tick that you're Brazilian, if you don't tick that you live in Brazil, you will get my emails in English. And then register now, and that's it. Very simple. Email address, your name, and then tick a few boxes. You'll be having this couple of videos there, one in Portuguese, another one in English. The video, 40 seconds, is just to tell you that emails, sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they go to the junk mail, sometimes they don't even come to you. So if you want to join my WhatsApp group, I've got a WhatsApp group there that, especially because pretty much everybody has WhatsApp. And then you will get the notifications in the WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group is usually closed. Nobody kind of sends silly jokes or videos or whatever. It's just me sending notifications. Sometimes I do some quizzes and ask questions, and then I open for your response, but then I close again fairly quickly. So you can be part of the group. You get notified. You're not going to get hundreds of notifications of other people. All right. Okay. I would like to thank you guys very much. And I hope that I can see you back next Sunday, 8:30 p.m., where I'm going to talk about the biggest fears that engineers have, usually during the validation process. All right. Thank you very much, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.